Praise be to Allah, the cherisher, the sustainer in the world, and blessing be on our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dr. Emir Haji Kadunic, former Ambassador of Bosnia, Malaysia. Dato Dr. Haji Rais Hussein, the Chairman of Malaysia Digital Economy Corporations, MDEC. Haji Khalid Awang, the President of IIUM Alumni Association. Dr. Adam Abba Idris, the President of IIUM Alumni Chapter of Nigeria. Madam Emilia Matraha, the former President and CEO of the Maimos Berhad. Our moderators, Dr. Rosmaliza Muhammad Kamaluddin, Assistant Professor of Kuliah of Education, and Sister Ainur Rabiatul Adawiyah binti Hasim. She's an advocate and solicitor. And all alumni, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Today is a special day for all IIUM alumni. The 10th October has been gazetted as the IIUM Alumni Day to commemorate the first convocation that was held on 10th October 1987. So happy Alumni Day to everyone. So let us start this program by reciting Ummul Kitab Al-Fatiha.
Al-Fatiha, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we would first of all show you a short video about the Alumni Relations Division. Alhamdulillah, we have watched the video, and now let's listen to the welcoming speech by our Director, Associate Professor, Dr. Azam Osman. Please welcome him.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, it is my great pleasure to welcome IIUM Alumni Day, virtual homecoming and webinar. I would like to express my sincere gratitude toward our beloved speakers, moderators, and all selected notable alumni who present physically and virtually in this program. I also would like to show my appreciation to everyone for making time for this gathering despite your busy schedule. Dear brothers and sisters, the current data shows that the total number of our alumni is about 96,710 alumni from 125 countries. IUM is a huge, IUM family is huge. So this requires cooperation, collaboration from all parties, including our alumni wing, alumni association, and our alumni. So let us work together to reach out our alumni. And of course, we value all our alumni and always look forward to welcoming all of you back to the university, to IUM, and contribute back to IUM. We also hope you will assist the university. For example, Alumni Relation Division has launched the 20 ringgit campaign. So I would like all of you to support this campaign, particularly to support our 20 ringgit per year campaign. We hope you will keep IUM in your heart always. Your support will go a long way in development of the university. Together, we will be able to uphold the good name of the university, inshallah. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Dr. Azam, for the message. And this will be the new campaign, RM20 Ringgit, launched by the Alumni Relations Divisions for the Alumni Scholarships and Financial Assistance Fund for the students. So without further ado, let us proceed with the session, the first session for our homecoming webinar. And ladies and gentlemen, here, let me briefly introduce our moderators. She is an alumna of the Ahmad Ibrahim Kuliah of Laws. Sister Ainur Rabiatu Adawiyah binti Hashim graduated with a Bachelor in Laws in 2017. She was the debater during her study days and received an excellent debater award from Majlis Debat University Malaysia, Madom, and currently practicing as an advocate and solicitor for her own legal firm. Our next moderator for the second session together with us today also Dr. Rosmaliza Muhammad Kamaluddin, an assistant professor at Department of Curriculum and Instruction, Kuliah of Education. She is the alumna of the Kuliah of Education in 2007. She is one of the master trainers of the Ministry of Higher Education's Educator 4.0 initiative, and she's now active in providing workshops on the learning design, instructional technology, and 21st century teaching and learning in Malaysia. So ladies and gentlemen, here, let's welcome Sister Ainur.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Shakir, for the brilliant introduction. And to the speaker, special guests, discussants, and also fellow moderator, and all notable alumni, thank you so much for spending your time today, and happy Alumni Day to all. My name is Ainur Rabiatu Adawiyah. I am the moderator for today's session with our special guest. So for this session, I will divide it to three. First session, I will introduce the special guest. Second is our special guest will give a short introduction or preface of the today's topic, which is IIUM Alumni, the torchbearers of the Ummah. And next is a few questions from myself to the honorable special guest. And if we still have the time, we will choose a few questions from the chat session. So you can put your question to the chat. If we have the time, we will choose a few. So without further ado, I would like to give brief introduction about our special guest for today, even though I trust that he need no introduction anymore. Our special guest is Prof. Emeritus Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Kamal Hassan. He was the third rector of IIUM from 5th April 1998 until 31st May 2006. And he was also the founder of Faculty of Islamic Reviewed Knowledge and Human Sciences in 1983 and became the first dean of the department. He was chosen as the national academic figure in 2017. He is also the recipient of the most esteemed Order of Royalty to the Crown of Malaysia in 2006 for his notable service to the country in general and especially in Malaysia academic segment. He also wrote mainly on philosophy, religion, social issues, and also education, and some of his famous works includes the Encyclopedia of Malaysia, Religious and Belief, Islamic Identity Crisis in the Muslim Community in Contemporary Malaysia, Islamic Studies in Contemporary Southeast Asia, General Observations at Islamic fi Alam al-Malaya, just to mention a few. And I can go on and on without any doubt, of course, about his great achievement and his great contribution in academic and generally to Malaysians, but that would defeat the purpose because we would like to hear to him. So I would like to pass this floor to Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Kamal Hassan. Please welcome.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم. O Allah, you are the exalted. We do not have any knowledge except that which you have taught us. Indeed, you are the all-knowing, the all-wise, and there is no power or force except from you, and you are indeed the exalted, the Almighty. I am indeed very grateful to the Almighty for it is by His grace and His mercy that I'm able to be here this afternoon to welcome, as it were, the homecoming of the world, of the global alumni. I was very happy to see the photo of brother, our former ambassador of Bosnia to Malaysia, and I also heard the name of Dato Rais, who is leading this digital agency of Malaysia, and also a prominent businessman by himself. I'm very, very indeed grateful that I have this opportunity. I'm honored also to be invited to be the first speaker. I feel that the first speaker should be the rector of the university. He should be welcoming you and not this old man. But anyway, since you have put me first, okay, let me just try to address the gathering. And I hope Chancellor Zul will bear with me. I have been given two questions. The moderator may not share with you the questions. It has something. The first one has to do with the future of the world, and how is IIUM going to prepare its students and also the alumni to face the challenges of the world. And the second question is about the misconceptions about IIUM, and how do we address the misconceptions? Is that okay, Dr. Ainur?
Hello?
Dr. Ainur?
Hello?
I was given these two questions, and I'll try to address these two questions within another, say, 15 minutes. Is that all right?
Hello? Yeah. It
Okay.
is all right. Thank you.
Okay, good. Because I don't want to.
Yeah, I can. I will write down the question in the chat, because I thought I will ask you after you introduce, but it's okay because of the limited time.
Because
No
because of the limited time, I want to go straight into the questions.
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
I will write it in the chat, and everyone else can check the chat. Thank you so much.
Okay, good. Because I'm trying to, because of the time factor, I'm just rushing through. First, to answer the first question about what IIUM should be doing to prepare the students and the alumni to face the future challenges, then I think we need to be able to forecast, in a way, the future, to envision the future. And to my mind, probably we are going to have more challenges in the next few decades, maybe in the next 5 decades or so. We're going to have many changes. And some of these changes are called by the futurists as post-normal times. So we have to brace ourselves. The university has to brace itself for rapidly changing circumstances, and the world itself is also rapidly changing, partly because, of course, now the pandemic is on Earth. We hope it will come to an end, but we have to expect more pandemics in the future. Then we are going to have also the climate, not just change anymore, it's climate emergency. And then we have also the United Nations goal of 2030 of the SDGs, trying to make a better world for everybody. And also we have, of course, the most rapid change will be in technology. And IT will take us beyond what we can think now, with AI coming out with so many new ideas, And some of them are even thinking that you could really prolong your life, and you don't have to die anymore, because you could transfer your identity into a machine. So you transfer your mind to a machine, the machine survives, and so there's no more death. And that kind of science fiction is also going on in the AI world. But whatever it is, I think we have to inform our students that the world is going to go into a new era of uncertainty, of collapsing structures, and people in the West are talking collapsing civilization. One forecast says by 2050, the current civilization will collapse, and so on and so forth. So, so what I'm saying is that we have to anticipate a very different kind of future in the next, say, 3-4 decades. And so how do we prepare our students to be able to address the changes and to become leaders despite all these changes? Because let us not forget that when we started from day one, we never talked to our students about their employability. We talk about them becoming leaders of the Ummah, leaders of the world. And I remember in those days I was talking about the IIUM students. You are going to be the agents of change, not seekers or worshippers of the market. So we have to anticipate this kind of changes, but we have to remember we are here to be leaders, not to be followers. Allah made us into ummatan wasata to be leaders, leaders of excellence, of moral excellence, leaders of justice, and leaders of balance. And this is the meaning, in short, of wasatiyah. So I would expect that our university curriculum will have to be modified to be able to produce the right kind of moral, spiritual, intellectual, emotional resources combined in the form of a human being, and that they will be able to address the new challenges and lead the world to a better future. And so however, having said that, let us not forget that these changes have to be grounded upon something very unchanging. So the unchanging aspect of life is the belief system, is the aqidah of Tawheed. That must never change. The Sharia may change with time, and in fact, before the Prophet Muhammad, Sharia evolved with time. But aqidah, the foundation of faith and iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must remain intact, in fact strengthened, because the future is going to be very, very challenging. If we are not strong in the iman and the spiritual part, then the trends of the future and the tsunamis of the future, the earthquakes of the future, and the pandemics of the future might sweep us along with the current. So I would think that the university will have to develop, redesign the curriculum, both the formal and the non-formal extracurricular, to make sure that we have this combination of what we call in Arabic the mutaghayyirat, the changing things, and then the thawabit, that is things which do not change and should not change. So how do we combine, how do we balance between the changing and the unchanging is a challenge for us. But we want to be leaders, and to be leaders, I would think that, well, let me just describe some of the dimensions of leadership. There is you could be leaders in administration, the umara. You could be leaders of NGOs. You could be leaders of different professions. You could be leaders of the country. You could be leaders of the community. You could be leaders of the intellectual institutions. These are the ulama. And then you could be leaders of da'wah, because we are also supposed to convey, to share, to spread the good message of Islam as rahmatan lil alameen to all the world. So we have to be leaders in all this. And some, of course, like Dato Rais is a leader in business. Alhamdulillah, he's doing well, and he's our Alhamdulillah, our good product. And so also his good wife, who got his PhD, also with us. These are good products, and we hope they will bring the Islamic values in the market. Because otherwise we'll be following the capitalistic and neoliberal paradigm in Muslim countries, and we will not be able to escape the traps of capitalism or communism or socialism. So on this, I will just finish in 1 or 2 minutes what the curriculum should do to face this very, very challenging future is to produce what the Quran calls the إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. That is, scholars of religion or of the world who have the khashyatullah, this strong faith and also a fear of his wrath and aspiration for his pleasure. That is the kind of scholars we like to produce. And second is what the Quran calls ulul albab. These are the all-round intellectuals and elites who could really develop the world in the proper way without forgetting God. So they represent the combination of dhikr and fikr. And the third is you need also the people who are going to defend the integrity of Islam, the oppressed Muslims like the Palestinians and many others in China. You have the Uyghur Muslims also being oppressed, and then you have in Europe, you have in several parts of the world. So you need also mujahidun fi sabilillah. But mujahidun fi sabilillah are people who strive to the best of their ability in the cause of Allah, not to be really militant or radical or people of violence, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and Al-Jama'ah Al-Islamiyah in Southeast Asia, or Abu Sayyaf in the Philippines. They don't represent Islam. They damage the image of Islam. So our mujahidun fi sabilillah is jihad with the pen, jihad with the qalb, with the heart, jihad with the smiling face, embracing the diversity of the world, and embracing even our non-Muslim brothers and sisters with rahmatan lil alamin, because we know that they also have that transcendent quality in themselves. That is the ruh and the fitrah. So our education system has to be changed to produce this kind of moral, spiritual, intellectual, emotional, social resources. Okay, that takes care of the first question. Now, the second question is about misconception about the university, about IIUM. So what do we do with these misconceptions? Many people, when they're told about the International Islamic University, those who have not come to the university, those who have not visited the university, and those who have not read about the university or have not met the alumni, the illustrious alumni, the prominent alumni that we have in Bosnia, in South Africa, in the Philippines, and parts of China and Europe, Pakistan, Afghanistan. You name it. We have our illustrious and prominent alumni all over the place. So assuming they do not know all this, even some Malaysian non-Muslims, when people tell them about Islamic university, the image is one of a traditional religious seminary, a pondok-like system which specializes in religious knowledge and know very little about the world. Now, in my original conception of the university in 1982, which was accepted by the Prime Minister at that time, I did not even imagine the Islamic University to have a faculty of Islamic studies. In my model, there was no faculty of Islamic studies. We had, engineering, medicine, science, economics, law, agriculture even, we thought at that time, architecture, and so on. No Islamic studies, because all the disciplines will be imbued with the Islamic worldview and values and the Tawhidic values. So the Tawhidic paradigm would be actually applied in all the disciplines. So if people were to come here, and I can tell you that the Vice Chancellor of Medina University, when he came here, he was stunned to see IIUM, and he decided to send his children to come and study law in our university, from Medina University. And now Medina is modernizing, in a way, duplicating what we're doing here. And our marriage of humanities, social sciences, and reading knowledge together, 3 in 1. Now Singapore and US is going to do it next year. They're going to combine the sciences and the humanities. So we have done it, we did it 37 years ago. Now, and the other misconception is that we are hostile to the West. Well, if they come here, they will see that what we teach, we do not teach hating the West or loving the East. We teach our students to love the truth, to protect the truth, to help those who are oppressed, including our Palestinian brothers, and anybody who is being oppressed. Injustice has to be combated, but combated with our intellectual resources and not with guns and swords. So we do not speak about hostility of the West. Hostility to evil, yes. Hostility to munkar, yes. But to overcome all that, we have to bring out more good things so that people can see that we deliver good fruits from this garden of knowledge and virtue. The other thing is, they think, some people think that this is a Malaysian university. From day one, even before it was conceived, IIUM was conceived as an international university, but grounded in Malaysia and managed by an international group of people in which Malaysia is represented. Malaysia is not the owner of the university. Malaysia is one of the owners of the university, represented in the board of governors. And another misconception is that segregation of the sexes. In some universities, like in Saudi Arabia and even in Al-Azhar, there is complete separation. In some, also Dubai or UAE, you have your campuses for men and then campuses of women, and they don't mix. We are in Malaysia, we are multiracial, and this in our religious schools also we have also male and female, but they're not really necessarily sitting side by side, but we have places for both. We do not practice gender separation. In fact, and also I'm very happy to say that we have more women than men. And then another thing which is novel, have anybody ever thought that there would be a woman vice chancellor or president of an Islamic university? IIUM is, I think, the first, or maybe the second, because the founder of Zaytuna University, the first university in the world, was a woman, a lady, but she was not the vice chancellor. But our vice chancellor, the fifth vice chancellor, was a lady, Professor Zaleha, and she's very well accomplished. Another good thing that many people don't know, that our girls, and particularly the Malay girls, and Dr. Ainur is one of them, she is a debater. We make sure that our girls are among the best debaters in the world. And we were the best debaters in the subject of law, the law mooting in Washington every year. We would be among the top 10. And at one time we beat Harvard and Yale. Tun Ahmad Sarji couldn't believe it. I told him, yes, we beat Harvard, we beat Yale, and we beat Princeton. And it's done by our girls, Malay girls. So this is unheard of in Islamic university. And then, okay, the last point I want to share with you, which is a big misconception, and I need to correct that misconception, is about the mission of Islamization of human knowledge, or Islamicization of human knowledge. I personally prefer to use Islamicization of human knowledge because to me, when we conceptualize this mission, we were thinking of an inclusive discourse, not an exclusivistic discourse of Islam. And we're focusing on the construction of human knowledge, because human knowledge, as you know, especially in the social sciences and the humanities, they were all products of Western Enlightenment, post-Enlightenment, and then secularism, and then later on colonialism and imperialism. We're not yet out of this neo-imperial clutches of knowledge with neoliberalism and so on. So human sciences particularly, and social sciences and humanities actually very much colored by the Eurocentricity and also the Western perspective. So we need to correct all that. And in correcting that, we're not destroying the whole edifice of Western knowledge, culture, and civilization. We are critical of the anti-Islamic or antagonistic elements within the structures of the human mind, particularly in the social sciences and the humanities. Even in the natural sciences, the philosophical roots, the epistemological foundations of the natural sciences also contradict Tawheed. But as for its the fruits above the ground are very good. We do not doubt that. But the roots, if you dig beneath the earth of modern sciences, then you will meet the philosophical foundation of naturalism, positivism, empiricism, and what have you, and including now postmodernism. So are we going to just say, yeah, let's integrate all this? You cannot integrate ma'ruf and munkar, but you can integrate something that is in line with ma'ruf, something that is not against ma'ruf, something that is in harmony with ma'ruf. And this is what we are doing in the law kulliyah. We have harmonization in the law kulliyah since Prof. Ahmad. And then we're doing in the revealed knowledge and human sciences, the first experiment in the world where you have 3 universes of knowledge, human sciences, social sciences, and what the West calls theology, combined into one kulliyah, the first in the world, and it still is the first in the world. And now it is among the top, of course, I'm not for ranking, but at least I'm happy to know that the world is ranking our kulliyah as among the best in the area of theology. Okay, and congratulations to the brothers and sisters in the kulliyah. So maybe another 5 minutes. I would like to say a little bit more about this Islamicization. The way we conceive it has nothing to do with trying to impose Islam upon others. Not at all. It's not about imposition. Islamization is, you might say, doing things in accordance with the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah. You want to be a better Muslim, and a better Muslim is an asset to his community and to the rest of the world. Not this fanatical, fundamentalist, radical, militant kind of Islamism taught elsewhere, not in IIUM. If we have some elements, they're not produced by us. They are extraneous elements, brought here to infiltrate into IIUM and to bring about some disturbances in IIUM. So we have to be careful about those extraneous foreign elements coming in using the camouflage of Sunni Islam, whereas in fact they represent some other kind of Islam with a more radical and also and militant perspectives. We are against militancy and all that. Our inclusivity of Islam is that Islam embraces the whole of humanity on the basis of rahmatan lil alameen, mercy to all mankind. And IIUM is doing that, inshallah. So people do not need to fear when we talk about one of the 7 missions of IIUM is Islamization of human knowledge. And that too, that Islamization of human knowledge cannot be done without being accompanied by Islamization of the self, which in the religious terminology is called tazkiyatun nafs, purification of the self, purification of the heart, so that you do, all the bad diseases of the heart would be removed, and then we will return to Allah biqalbin salim, with a sound heart. So I hope, inshallah, more and more people will appreciate what we're trying to do in IIUM for the last 37 years, and we have maybe another 1 century to go, inshallah, for better things. And I'm sure we will continue to produce good leaders, leaders who are balanced, leaders who embrace the world as rahmatan lil alameen, leaders who are against militancy, leaders who talk of Islam as something inclusive, humanistic, and not exclusive, radical, and isolationist. Okay, I'm sorry I've taken too much of your time. Sorry, Tan Sri Zul, for taking your time, but I hope you will forgive me and excuse me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much to Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Kamal for the brilliant sharing. It serves as a reminder to all of us, IIUM alumni, yet it is so fresh, like breathing in fresh air. After so long, we get this reminder on our roots. And all of us are lucky to have you with us today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And also I'm yet a doctor, but thank you so much for the prayer. Inshallah soon. And I'd like to thank you everyone, to say thank you to everyone for the opportunity today for me to become the moderator. And I am so sorry, it's my apology if there's any mistake or any shortcoming at my end. And without further ado, I would like to pass the floor to Dr. Rose for the next agenda. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a pleasant afternoon. Thank you very much, Sister Ainur, and also Tan Sri Kamal. It's such a breath of fresh air to be listening to Tan Sri Kamal this afternoon, and I'm sure a lot of people have missed Tan Sri Kamal so much, especially in the IIUM alumni community. My name is Rose Maliza, and I will be your moderator for the second segment of this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, we are brothers and sisters, actually. We are deeply honored to have with us prominent global figures who are alumni of IIUM, the Garden of Knowledge and Virtue. To kick off this segment of the Alumni Homecoming Day, I am pleased to introduce, although he needs no introduction, our beloved Rector of IIUM, the distinguished Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Dato Dzulkifli Abdul Razak. And Tan Sri Zul has a very, of course, elaborate CV. I'm just going to read some of the achievements of Tan Sri Zul. Tan Sri is currently the rector of IIUM, and he was Chancellor of USM, University Science Malaysia, from the year 2000 till 2011. He is the immediate past president of the International Association of Universities, IAU, a UNESCO-affiliated organization based in Paris. He was the convener of the Regional Center for Expertise on Education for Sustainable Development based in USM since 2005. Tan Sri Zul was awarded the prestigious 2017 Gilbert Medal by Universitas 21 in recognition of his long-term commitment to a sustainable approach to international higher education. Tan Sri is a fellow of the Academy of Sciences Malaysia, the World Academy of Arts and Science, and the World Academy of Islamic Management. Now, something interesting, Tan Sri was an invited speaker at the 2015 Nobel Dialogue in Sweden, and wait for it, the 2020 Nobel Prize Dialogue in South Korea, scheduled to be in October 2021. So we're all looking forward to that, Tan Sri. Inshallah. Tan Sri Zul was awarded the 2017 Tokoh Academic Negara, the National Academic Laureate, and recipient of a number of honorary doctorate from from various international universities. So Tan Sri Zul, I would love to read more of your biodata, but I would like to pass the floor, or rather the screen, to you, because you would love to hear about your vision of IIUM. Please, Tan Sri Zul, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Rose. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu syafil anbiya mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Dearest Professor Kamal Hassan, fellow alumni, brothers and sisters, it is indeed very humbling to talk to you today, particularly after listening to Professor Kamal. I thought he has covered so much that I have so little to say now. But in any way, he has sort of opened the path for me to discuss the topic that was given to me, the torchbearer of the Ummah. Now, I'm not going to talk on behalf of the alumni per se, but I would like to position the university as the possible torchbearer of the Ummah. And then I would like to welcome the alumni to come back to the university and make sure that this torch that we are bearing with us is something that we can deliver together, the university and the alumni. So we are in a way providing a platform for you, providing some opportunities for you wherever and whenever you think it is convenient and also of interest to you. We certainly would like to welcome you. On that note, I would like to cover the period when I'm here, that was in 2018 to 2020, and just to narrate to you some of the initiative and the action that we have taken that moves towards the torchbearer kind of a role. I'm not too sure whether it's a torchbearer, it depends on how you define this, but at least there are two things now I would like to see on the slides. If you see the slides, at the end of it, you will probably see our prominent logo that everybody is familiar with, but there are other things that you are unfamiliar with. One is what we call the Regional Centers of Expertise on Education for Sustainable Development, which is an acknowledgement by the United Nations University given to IIUM on the 1st of April this year, that we become, quote unquote, an authoritative center to talk about sustainable development in a global sense. And then we are then designated as what we call the RCE, which stands for Regional Centers of Expertise for Sustainable Development, called the Greater Gombak, which covers Kuantan, which covers Bago, which also covers Gambang. In other words, it is a recognition of the whole university, then the role that we play in trying to move sustainable development forward as part and parcel of, quote unquote, the future education, which we will talk a little bit later. So that is one achievement that I thought that meets the standard of an torchbearer moving forward for the Ummah, as it were. The second dimension is basically when we were awarded another accolade by the United Nations Environment, no less, what we call the Green Ground International Award, being the Sustainability Institution of the Year for the year 2020. This is an international sort of competition that we participated in, and I think we were listed among the 10 finalists, and eventually we won this particular award. We beat all the rest from different parts of the world, and IIUM became the best institution for sustainability in year 2020 for the whole world. We're the first from Malaysia, we're the first from Asia, and indeed we are the first from the Muslim world. It is, I think, an accolade that tells a lot about the university, as Professor Kamal has said, that we are into the global agenda. Again, I hope this mirrors very closely to your understanding of what a torchbearer of the Ummah is like, right? So we like to call ourselves, and proudly, in fact, now in our writing, call ourselves an award-winning sustainability institution. And this is something that will then put us on a pedestal internationally. And I will talk to you a little bit about what do we gain from this kind of accolade or recognition worldwide, as it were. Let me go very quickly, because I have very little time, to go very quickly how we started this journey in the middle of 2018 when I came and took the position as the 6th Rector. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we begin to find out what is it that we want to do, and we take the university song, Leading the Way, as a kind of a guiding principles. And on that note, we drafted a roadmap for the year 2019 to 2020 using the same core values of Khalifah, Amanah, Iqra' and Rahmatan lil Alamin, which is something that we have been singing for the last 37 years, but now we want to contextualize it. What does leadership mean? Prof. Kamal talks about leadership in a very comprehensive way. How does Amanah fits in? Where does Iqra' in the context of knowledge, particularly the garden of knowledge and virtue, and Rahmatan lil Alamin. Again, Prof. Kamal said it very eloquently that we are for the whole universe, not just for a segmentation of group of people, a country, or a community as such. And therefore, we devised a program, what we call the whole institution transformation. How do you bring this university into the future, not as part and parcel of certain bits and pieces, but the whole university moving together as a transformational process, all right? Now, we devised what we call the area, the strategic area, and the strategic area is a six area, beginning with a balanced graduate. In the terminology of the Malaysian, we call it Insan Sejahtera, producing balanced staff, creating a well-being and a well-created sort of environment with institutional stability, which is self-sustaining, that we don't depend on many things outside, but we are almost self-sufficient in a way. Doing research in a very responsible way. There's quite a different meaning when you talk about responsible research and research alone. Responsible research means we need to give back to the community and society, and finally become global relevant in that particular sense. And therefore, this is a kind of strategic move that we want to talk about. And in your language, perhaps this is the global prominence or the torch bearer for the Ummah, as it were. The word for us is Rahmatan lil Alamin. I guess there's a kind of an equivalency between what a torch bearer of the Ummah is and the Rahmatan lil Alamin. This has been our quote-unquote roadmap. I will not be able to give you the details of it, but what is it? It's about humanizing education. So at the end of the day, when Professor Kamal talked about how do you purify the human being, work on through the heart, use Maqasid Asyariah in the context of sustainable development, this will be the kind of framework that we have used moving forward from 2019 to 2020. Now, what does it mean to us is basically now the university is in a way preparing itself to the next stage where we talk about institutional readiness. In other words, everybody in the university, and hopefully the alumni as well, will understand all the things that the university stands for. In other words, when we talk about the garden and knowledge and virtue, what does it mean to us in the context of knowledge, in the context of virtue, in the context of moving forward? When we sing this song, Leading the Way, what does it mean to us? Is it just a song to sing, or is it an anthem for we to act and make sure whatever we sing is realized into what the reality is around the campus? We talk about the triple ICE, right? But it is a veiled sort of word that shadow or already overshadows the 7 missions of the university. We may be familiar with the triple ICE, but I think most of us are not familiar or have forgotten what the 7 mission is all about. We are going to bring this out, the 7 mission, because that is the crux of what the university is all about. And I will talk a little bit about this. Where the sustainable development comes in the goal of what we call Education 2020, which is 10 years from now, how do you create this? Where does the falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan stays in? Where is the Maqasid Asyariah in this context? Yeah. What happened to the campus when we talk the garden of knowledge and virtue? Where is sustainability? Now that we are a sustainability institution, how do you protect this and grow this in the world to come? Right. So this institutional readiness is something that we are very, very serious about. That everybody that steps their feet in the university will understand the meaning of all these things, so that they are not lost in navigating their way through the university and moving forward in the future. Then that will allow us to move into the organizational process, getting the outcome, and finally going into the strategic plan, which is now done by every kuliah, every centers, and including the Mala itself. It takes leadership, And back to the question of leadership, how do you make this leadership relevant into the university and also the future? And back to your idea of what a torchbearer is all about, that we work for Rahmatan Lil Alamin, not just for the university or the country where we are based in. So that is in general where we put our focus, our strategy, and how do you work through around it is what I think it is important. Now, I would like to bring you back to this whole idea of triple ICE, which has been talked about in the university, but I think now the time has come for us to unveil this 3 ICE and what is it that we talk about when we talk about the 7 mission, because I think it is much more important to understand the 7 mission in its own context so that everybody now knows exactly what is it for them to do. And the 7 missions, I think, is very clear to us. The first one is integration of knowledge. I don't have to mention about this. I think Prof. Kamal again has elaborated. Is the reveal knowledge and the reason, but we will also extend that to the integration of science and arts, technology and humanities. Yeah, dominant knowledge and indigenous knowledge, formal education, informal education, all those things that need to be integrated so that we can go back to the convergence of knowledge, the unity of knowledge, or the Tawhidic understanding of what knowledge is. Yeah? The second dimension, perhaps most of you will be surprised, when you talk about sustainable development, it has been there in the mission of the university since 1995. In other words, 25 years ago, this university has been talking about sustainable development, and alhamdulillah, we are able to realize it now, 25 years later. Islamization, again, Prof. Kamal has talked about it. I don't need to elaborate. He also talked about the context of values, spiritual, moral values, which is mission number 4. Right? Mission number 5 is about internationalization. How do you make sure that this community of more than 100 countries within the university are treated equally? It's not a Malaysian university, and therefore Malaysian culture and Malaysian values should not be dominant. How do you integrate it? And to integrate it, we talk about intercultural dialogue. Has this dialogue been happening between cultures so that we understand each other better, so that the Ummah becomes a unified Ummah, not a divided Ummah the way we see it today? How do you intellectually move this? And finally, a deep sense of responsibility, that we do this not because of 2 credits or want to get an A for a paper or to get a first-class degree. We do this because it is a deep sense of social responsibility, the commitment that we have to make sure that this university represents the reality of what the university is all about for the last 37 years and moving forward. So if you read the 7 mission, it has a lot more meaning than just talking about triple ICE. And triple ICE has its own relevance, but I think we now want to move into the very specific 7 missions. So anything that you do in the university, you must tell us now, which of the 7 missions are you trying to fulfill? We need to know exactly and how you're going to fulfill it so that the strategic plan that we are going to execute becomes more well monitored, well focused, and also well evaluated at the same time. Yeah. So these are 7 missions that is now being popularized within the university, that everybody needs to know this like the back of their hand so that they know exactly what the university is all about. And then we go into the vision of the university. The vision of the university is again long, but the last 2 sentences, one sentence became very, very clear to us that all these 7 missions of ours would want to contribute to the qualities of human life, not only Muslim life, not only people's life, but life as a whole, including animals and all the things around us. We also want to make sure that the civilization is protected. As we move into what we call now the Anthropocene age, where human beings are destroying or destructing their own civilization, again, as mentioned by Prof. Kamal, how do you protect, how do you build, how do you enhance civilization, at least from the Muslim perspective? So this is the take as far as IIUM is concerned, moving as a torchbearer from our language as Rahmatan Lil Alamin, right? And these 7 missions then will be integrated in the many things that's happening around the world so that we are also relevant in the contemporary world. So we talk about the falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan in Malaysia, although it's called kebangsaan, but actually it's global, which has been forgotten for the last 30 years. Now the kuliah of education becomes the hub to popularize this, to make people understand what the falsafah is all about. Particularly the politicians seems to have been lost as far as education is concerned. We want to bring this back. In the falsafah, there's room for maqasid, which to non-Muslim, we call it the 5 necessities of human existence. Indeed, human existence now has been threatened under the COVID, all right? And then we try to couple that with the 4 pillars of learning: learning to do, learning to know, learning to be, and learning to live together. Learning to know and learning to do is quite conventional, but what is learning to be? Is basically coming back to the complete human person that we talked about, but has not been taken up at all in many of our schools, including universities. And therefore, we are not able to live together, not only as Malaysian, but also as global citizens. How do you bring this back into the 7 mission that we talked about when you talk about international community, when you talk about intercultural dialogue? This all has its own relevance. And last but not least, certainly you know the SDG, which is mission number 2, when you talk about sustainable development, trying to go into the overarching principle of partnership, peace, people, planet, and prosperity. These are the governing blocks when we talk about the 7 missions and how do you integrate together so that the 7 missions remain relevant and not something that is left behind for the last 25 years or so. All right. Now on that, I think that is the strategic part. But what do we do in terms of making this happen? We are now also reconstructing some of the values that we've got. When you used to have a quality day, now we call it Takrim Day. A Takrim Day is not just about recognizing individual, but recognizing the value of togetherness, recognizing the value of inclusiveness, recognizing the value of sharing. So there are 3 ideas that I articulate when we speak about Takrim Day. Is about to celebrate togetherness in achieving success. It may be a group of people, but we share the success. It is not about just an individual. Right? We talk about how we can recognize as many people as possible. So one project may have 20 people, we recognize the 20, not just the principal investigator or the dean or the rector or whatever it is, but we recognize the whole group so that people felt that they are now together as quote unquote the Ummah that we talk about. And it's also time for us to demonstrate all this thing that we recognizing is about the contribution of the university to the community as such. So the whole idea of Takrim has taken a different dimension. It's not just celebrating individuals, but celebrating values of togetherness, of sharing, of inclusiveness, and that will be the new way of recognizing how people work within the university as one Ummah or one community per se. Very quickly, I think we also make some structural changes in terms of advocacy, in terms of communication, in terms of putting the knowledge where it should be. When you talk about Iqra, what does it mean? How do you advance knowledge forward? And therefore, how do you strategize and make sure that the institutional change must happen? And it's because of that that we got this, the Greater Gombak Regional Centers of Expertise recognized by United Nations, and everything now is focused onto this as part and parcel of moving the whole institution, as I've mentioned to you very much earlier. All right. But unfortunately, it is something that we didn't forecast, we didn't plan for, but suddenly we were visited by a friend, an invisible friend that throws a havoc as far as the university is concerned. But given this kind of structure that we have had, given the kind of discussion that we have got, it is not difficult to handle this. Very quickly, we talk about these elements of COVID in terms of cleanliness, obedience to SOP, be vigilant of where they are, be istiqamah, be very truthful and disciplined around this. And these are the values that we talked about. And very early, this university has talked about physical distancing when the whole world, including our country, is talking about social distancing. We don't believe social distancing is a solution. We think physical distancing is a solution, but with social bonding. Alhamdulillah, finally, the Ministry of Health say, yes, the word is physical distancing and not social distancing. And IIUM has pioneered this long before it is this. So these are the things that I hope that you can realize that intellectually, we are indeed the torchbearers when we look at what is happening around us. Beyond that, when the COVID comes in, the students have already taken on doing well-being survey, because we know relationship becomes important, individual relationship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes important. How do you move this? There are many, guidelines being given, right? And what I must mention, one of the things that everybody is doing, that is sewing the PPEs. I think we have sewn about 5,000 PPEs over that period of month, giving it free of charge to hospital and to the district outlets and so on and so forth, which is done by our students. 300 of them work almost every day to do this PPE to be distributed. Beyond that, they've got our own frontliners, works. We talk about mental health. We know mental health will be a problem. We built a platform, we campaign for it, and now mental health is one of the strong platforms within the university compared to other universities. We work on with the Ministry of with Science, I think, to create apps. My Sejahtera, My Trace, these are all done by our IT people, all right? And on top of that, we also work what we call this mini board, where there are no human resource, where there are no facilities. We thought this mini board, which is less than 10,000 or 20,000 ringgit, could help. Now this is now under trial at our own hospital in Kuantan. It will be probably, inshallah, be privatized and also be commercialized. Yeah, and this is one of the contribution. If you talk about again torchbearers, that I like to highlight to you, right? We have also got our moments of blue lights, that we are encouraging people to be frontliners, and these are the kind of things that happen that makes this university a kind of a unique university within that. Yeah. In the times of lockdown, there are many things that's happened also quite unexpectedly. We save a lot of money. We cut down on CO2 emissions, almost equivalent to 260 trees planted. And this is something now we are trying to hanker down so that this saving in terms of environment and ecology continues on and on, right? Now, I would like to go very fast because I think my time is running out. So when we talk about the coronavirus, suddenly we find that this torchbearer of ours becomes a little bit dim because there's mobility problem, money problem, communication problem, and so on and so forth. So what do? We quickly set back and say, look, there'll be crisis ahead, the new crisis that we don't know, and exactly what Prof. Kamal has said, we have come down and rewrite our curriculum, rewrite our program, rewrite the whole review of what we have got from the last 37 years. What is it that we can shift to the future as far as that's concerned? Alhamdulillah, within the next 2 months, we'll come up with a book called the Sejahtera Academic Framework, Humanizing Education for Rahmatan Lil Alamin, repositioning IIUM, moving into the post-COVID era, right? Then there are, hopefully, we will then move and lead the way again. And this is now happening when we are invited to talk in many webinars. This is one that is organized by Malaysia. And we have now also promoted our own structure of what the post-COVID model of education would look like, right? I have no time to talk to you about this, but certainly you can see it is a value-based sort of education that talks about values of sympathy, empathy, compassion, not just a mechanical, technological stuff that at the end of the day is soulless, that probably will also work against human beings. So how do you bring this to bear is an issue that we talked about. And now we are moving into the post-COVID thing, and we think we need to decolonize some of the issues that have been plaguing us for a long time. The misconception that have been talked about is basically something to do with this, that people would want to see us living the way they want us to live rather than the way we should live. And therefore, we are now having another group for talking about how do you decolonize education and bring back the Islamic value into education and just cut out what is Eurocentric or Western-centric and bring back what is important for humanity rather from a group of people as such. Yeah. On that note, we are also now participating at a very high level. We have been invited to this UNESCO education sector. They're going to have a world conference next year in Berlin, assembling thoughts and ideas of how do you transform education beyond COVID-19. We are one of the participants. Alhamdulillah, the university is well represented, inshallah, on that note. Let me just move on very quickly. So we talk about this, we talk about the falsafah, we talk about the maqasid, we talk about the 17 goals, but yet we find that something is missing. What is missing? Spirituality is missing. And therefore, the university is working together now to create SDG 18. Although SDG is only 17, we're talking about SDG 18. And what is SDG 18? Is spirituality. And alhamdulillah, we just launched a book on spirituality and sustainability experiences of the International Islamic University Malaysia. This book now is highly demanded by people around the world who believe that spirituality should be part of sustainable development. In our context, we talk about the amanah, the khalifah, the ikraq, and rahmatan lil alamin. There is another torchbearer, I hope, that will shine our way forward in terms of where the future would be, taking spirituality as part and parcel of sustainable development. Another excellent book, I think Brother Emir will realize this, is a project that we work with the Bosnian, particularly the Bosnians who have been studying here. We have come up with a book, Humanizing Education, the Bosnian Experience in Malaysia, that enumerates what this university has done to a group of people, a Muslim that comes here, brought back knowledge and transformed their own country. I think Brother Amir will probably talk a little bit more about this, but this book has been launched. And if you read this book, you will suddenly find out that this university has got an invaluable contribution to the world at large, more than a torchbearer. Yeah, and not that only, I think the Indonesians now is also starting to write their book, Mengejar Asa di IIUM, written by 37 Muslimah. I don't know where the Muslim is, but the Muslimah has written a book. I'm also asking, where is the Malaysian alumni? They should be writing books as well, because there are many thousands of them as compared to the Bosnian and Indonesians. I would expect some books from them, the alumni. Hopefully you will come and also meet this pledge of what they have done to Malaysia and the alumni from Malaysia as such, right? So, two breaking news. We just got this news yesterday that our INHAT has won the Halal Research Development Excellence Award in the World Halal Excellence Award just recently. It's new. We have not captured it well, but this is something that is also very proud to announce it to you. The second breaking news is IIUM is among the 3 universities with the University of Malaya and University of UKM that have been persuasive enough to get the government to sign the Treaty of Prohibition in the nuclear weapon on the 30th September. Yeah? In the speech of the minister, IIUM was mentioned as part of the university that is responsible to lobby for this, and we are part and parcel of that instrument, making this part of the Rahmatan lil Alamin that we talk about, bringing peace. If Prof. Kamal talks about peace, this is one very concrete example that we do not believe in war, we believe in peaceful ways, and this is an example of it. Yeah. So I think that's about it. There's a lot more if you give me more time, but in the 30 minutes, I hope you'll get some gist of what we have done, what platform we have created, how the alumni can come together with us, and how we can make these torchbearer dreams of yours work, and how this university can support both the alumni and also the university mission at the same time. On that note, thank you very much. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Rose, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry for the technical there. Thank you so much, Tan Sri, for the enlightening presentation as always. And I am sure brothers and sisters out there, the alumni is now excited when they have learned about what IIUM has achieved and where it is going. And now perhaps this will spark enthusiasm in giving back to the university, supporting its effort moving forward. And definitely, inshallah, I think we will have a lot of torchbearers from this day onward. Alhamdulillah, Tan Sri and everybody, I would like to announce that we have got over 200 views now, both on Zoom and on YouTube. So thank you very much, alumni community, for being with us this afternoon. And from the chat box that's going on is very active and people are reconnecting with each other. So I think Tan Sri, this touch upon your, the efforts of rewriting the curriculum, this Sejahtera curriculum, and also the 4H, the humanity, heart, high touch, and humanizing. There's nothing more than being connected that will bring us together, and inshallah this effort will propel IIUM forward, and alhamdulillah. Thank you so much everybody. And also I am pleased to say that we have with us this afternoon 5 prominent figures who have walked the grand staircase of the Muhammad Abdul building, or formerly known as the Rectory building, as all of you might have been familiar with. It is now renamed as the Muhammad Abdul building. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our discussants today, members of the alumni community. First and foremost, we have Dr. Emir Hadzikadunic. Dr. Emir is the former ambassador of Bosnia-Herzegovina to Malaysia. Dr. Emir received his bachelor's degree in communications from IIUM in 1997, pursued an interdisciplinary postgraduate degree in human rights and democracy at the University of Sarajevo, University of Bologna in 2002, and obtained a PhD in international relations from the International University of Sarajevo in 2018. Dr. Emir has extensive experience in international relations and foreign policy, including professional engagement as an ambassador of Bosnia-Herzegovina, academic engagement at universities and think tanks, and engaged in consultancy tasks with UNDP, the EU, and the USAID. Dr. Emir is active in writing for academic journals. He has authored 2 books and also co-authored few other publications. Welcome, Dr. Emir. Can you just say salam to everybody?
Thank you very much. Do you hear me well?
Yes, alhamdulillah. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Emir. All right. And, yeah. Okay. And the next alumni that we have with us is Dato Wira Dr. Haji Rais Hussein Muhammad Arif, who is the current chairman of Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, MDEC, and the current president of Emir Research that specializes in data-driven research on any national and international issues. Dato has more than 23 years of corporate experience in leading and managing local and global telecommunications, technologies, and IT companies. Dato Wira Dr. Haji Rais is an IIUM thoroughbred. He received his bachelor's in economics, master's in management, and a doctorate in business administration, all from IIUM. Dato Rais actively promotes inbound investment, technology, and execution for high-tech value projects in Malaysia and the exciting growth markets of the ASEAN Economic Zone. Dato Haji Rais, welcome. Can you say salam to everybody? Can we hear your voice?
This is Rais Hussein. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you. All right, and our next alumna, Madam Emilia Matraha. She is the former president and CEO of Mimos Berhad, an experienced chief financial officer with a demonstrated history of working in the research industry. She is skilled in business planning, analytics, management, mergers and acquisitions, and startups. Madam Amelia received her bachelor's degree with honors in business administration from IIUM, obtained an MBACC in accountancy from the University of Aberdeen. Madam Amelia started her career with PricewaterhouseCoopers before moving into the commercial-based industries, Sapura Telecommunications Berhad as its business controller and ICIMB Sdn Berhad as its CFO. Madam Amelia joined MIMOS in May 2006 and progressed into her role as Senior Vice President, looking into corporate strategic planning, treasury and financial management, risk and corporate governance, lead negotiator for global settlement, legal services, facility management, and strategic procurement for MIMOS and its subsidiaries. And she's also a mom. So Madam Amelia, how are you? Say salam to everybody.
I'm fine. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for being with us, Madam. Our next alumnus is Tuan Haji Khalik Awang, who is our current president of the IIUM Alumni Association. He is senior lawyer with more than 22 years reputation in corporate law and transaction, housing and commercial development, company secretarial practice, civil and corporate litigation, and Islamic finance. Tuan Haji Khalik is the founder and principal of Messrs. Khalik Awang and Associates with more than 20 years of experience in civil law litigation, conveyancing, and property transactions and corporate secretarial practice. Tuan Haji Khalik is a member of the IIUM Board of Governors since 2018, the director of AP Land Construction Sdn Berhad, a member of the Board of Trustees, New Entrepreneur Foundation since 2013, a foundation dedicated in promoting and developing tech startups, as well as the director of Screening Tech Sdn Berhad. Tuan Haji Khalik is also another thoroughbred. Well, almost Tuan Haji, need to get your PhD here. He received his Bachelor's of Law in 1991, Master of Comparative Law in 1992, and Postgraduate Diploma in Sharia Law and Practice 1999, all from the Garden of Knowledge and Virtue. Tuan Haji, how are you today?
Good.
Assalamualaikum,
Khalik Awang here.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And finally, we have with us Dr. Adam Abba Idris, who is the president of IIUM Alumni Chapter of Nigeria and currently the provost of the College of Education and Legal Studies, Nguru, Yobe State, Nigeria. Dr. Adam received his bachelor's degree in Islamic jurisprudence from the OIC Islamic University in Niger Republic. He obtained his master's and PhD from IIUM in history and civilization. Dr. Adam was the president of Nigerian Students Community in Malaysia, IIUM chapter, during his days here in IIUM. Dr. Adam is an experienced educator and was once the principal of Al-Iman School, Jalingo, Taraba State, and he is currently a fellow at the Civilian Institute of Democratic Administration in Nigeria. Welcome, Dr. Dr. Adam, all the way from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Salam to all.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with us this afternoon. And I would like to get the ball rolling with the discussion. I would like to start with Dr. Emir, Dr. Emir from Bosnia, all the way there. What would be your initial response, Dr. Emir, to Tan Sri Zul's vision in taking IIUM forward?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this webinar. Assalamu alaikum and very good morning from Sarajevo. I thank IIUM Rector Tan Sri Dzulkifli and third IIUM Rector for their inspiring presentations today. And I also look forward to noble speakers and other friends and alumni members. Well, it is my great honor to be part of this IIUM webinar, to be part of this noble occasion to commemorate the first convocation held in 1987. If you allow me, with regards to your question, I would rather like to share some interesting thoughts and reflections of Bosnian alumni which have reflections of the future challenges that we might be facing as well. And it is also about the book that Rector has already mentioned on humanizing the knowledge and humanizing education and the Bosnian experience in Malaysia. Our marriage with the IIUM has happened at the most difficult time of our recent history, when Bosnian people and Bosnian nation fought not only for its freedom, but also for mere biological survival. So the first group of Bosnian students at IIUM, which arrived as early as 1991, have quickly learned one very important lesson. And that lesson was, we were not alone in this world. And our country, Bosnia and Herzegovina, was not alone at this critical historical period. And actually, this is the virtue of togetherness, inclusiveness, and one Ummah that Rector Dzul was referring in his presentation today. And this virtue of togetherness is very important to stay with us in the future, with IIUM for the rest, actually for all the time, for good. It is one of the very important lessons that we Bosnians have learned at the very initial stage. As you all know, Malaysia was the first nation that stood up against the gross violations of human rights and openly supported Bosnian struggle for freedom and dignity. At the same time, Malaysian firm and resolute stand for justice and was noticed as a role model for other Muslim countries among the OIC members especially. So I would like to highlight that apart from this diplomatic support, apart from our home that we found at IIUM, I would like to say also that the pivotal moment was the decision of the Malaysian government to provide these scholarships to a group of Bosnian students that later on produced a long-term effects, positive effects in Bosnian society, for Bosnian economy, for Bosnian political life, and so on and so forth. So we have lived an extraordinary time, and this was combined with the extraordinary university, the garden of knowledge and virtue. And also it was a vibrant country with a fast growing economy, made us Bosnian students to actually dream about higher goals, higher objectives, higher achievements. And these individual experiences that Bosnian IIUM alumni experienced in Malaysia, whose engagement in social, political, and economic life, political life of Bosnia today clearly demonstrates the essence of transformational effects and impact an education can have and can produce in a given country. So I believe that as for the future challenges, it is a core mission of any university to provide an opportunity for its graduate to make an impact in their societies, in their countries, just like Bosnian alumni members have done in last 20 some years. So there is no doubt that over 200 successful Bosnian professionals who constitute the IIUM Bosnian alumni today is an intellectual, business, political, financial, media, academic elite, and a formidable force to be reckoned with in Bosnia especially. So this group of students has produced serious transformational effects in our society in a most profound, constructive, and a positive way. So we believe that based on us and based on other alumni groups as well, this mission has been very important, and it has to stay with UIA. The next generations of students from UIA have to think about their societies, how they can rebuild their countries once they graduate. So at the same time, I would like to highlight that Bosnian IIUM alumni are perhaps the best ambassadors of Malaysia in Bosnia and Herzegovina. In fact, we celebrate Merdeka every year together with the small community of Malaysians in Bosnia. We are very proud to say that Malaysia is our second home. And at the same time, through our networking, we were officially, some of us were officially representing our government ambassadors to Malaysia on 3 occasions. It has happened, and on many others if we consider other countries. So one can question how this has happened with us, why we have been so effective after we came back. I can share a few factors which are relevant for today's discussion. First of all, it was Malaysian vibrant, pluralistic and multi-ethnic, multiracial and highly successful international university coupled with Islamic-based values and norms, which produced hard work, resilience, community spirit that Bosnian alumni were indebted during their studies. I remember I myself and my colleague Harun Kapetanovic, who is today in Dubai giving advices to the government of Emirates, we were running a small barber shop. We were cutting the hair of our fellow students and on some occasions even professors. So this is where we obtain our entrepreneurship skills at the university. So it is also one very important slogan that made us who we are today. You know, Malaysia Boleh inspired alternative vision of or version of Bosnia Boleh in the post-conflict period and also in the reconstruction phase of Bosnia and today in the development phase of Bosnia. So most alumni members, they invested a great efforts in promoting the potentials of our homeland to international investors, to our friends, to create a stable economic environment, to create a stable and peaceful environment, to increase international awareness of Bosnia, of developments in Bosnia, to create, actually to change a distorted image of Bosnia, of a war-torn country. So without experience of Malaysia Boleh, which we Bosnian students experienced firsthand during our study time in Malaysia, initiatives such as Sarajevo Business Forum, Sarajevo Halal Fair, Al Jazeera Balkans, I mean organizations such as Al Jazeera Balkans, even Al Jazeera Documentary Festival, one of the most prominent film festivals in the region, International University of Sarajevo, Center for Advanced Studies, among many other noble initiatives and organizations would not be able to flourish in Bosnia had it not been for the experience, for this vision of the IIUM, for this future-oriented vision of IIUM, inspiration and knowledge, confidence and lessons learned from Malaysia that we Bosnian alumni borrowed and successfully implemented in Malaysia. So I can say that in many ways, Bosnian IIUM alumni members have truly become international ambassadors of the institution that cultivated and cherished us with knowledge, with wisdom, and for that we are thankful and grateful to the UIA, to our noble professors. We are grateful to Malaysia. We are grateful to Malaysian people and its noble leadership. Just at the end, I would like to say that we all have different affiliations, some of which are more temporary, while others are long-term or permanent. My personal association with the International Islamic University is a lifelong one. I always come back to this place, to this noble place, if not by traveling to Kuala Lumpur, then in my thoughts, dreams, and memories. So I'm looking forward to stay in touch with my university. I believe and I pray that future generations will be as successful as the old generations, that IIUM will move forward, will reach the highest goals and ambitions, and we will always be very proud of our university and of our alumni. Thank you very much, Terima kasih, and I'm looking forward to other noble friends that will share their thoughts and ideas.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Emir, for that very inspiring sharing with us. And it's very interesting that you have your own version of Bosnia Boleh. And it sort of warms my heart to know that the community over there celebrates Merdeka. Alhamdulillah, thank you so much for that. And it truly reflects the torchbearer spirit that you brought with you. And you have spread that spirit all over the world by becoming ambassadors of Bosnia, because you're not only bringing the IIUM name, but you're also bringing Malaysia name, bringing Bosnia name. So Alhamdulillah, thank you so much. And related to that, I believe that IIUM has been successful in instilling humanistic values graduates. So therefore, Dato Wira, Dr. Haji Rais, I would like to pass the screen over to you as an IIUM thoroughbred and as an active member of the industry, championing IR 4.0 and things like that. How will IIUM, strategies, what we are doing in IIUM will prepare the future graduates of IIUM for this, unknown future? Thank you, Dr. Wira, Dato Wira, Dr. Haji Rais, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much for unmuting me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to everyone, the eminent professors, Professor Kamal Hassan, Professor Dzul, Emir that I just met a few weeks ago at MDEC. We had a very good chat, a very open heart chat on the state of Muslim Ummah, which is quite sad in many ways. But I would love to start by saying that the presentation made by Prof. Dzul gives me a little bit hope. I can see a little light at the very long tunnel. And I hope we can navigate through that long tunnel to reach the grandeur objectives and aims that Prof. Dzul have shared. Obviously, Prof. Kamal Hassan, he's like my father. He's the moral compass of many. And he always says one thing when I was in the university back in 1985, not too long ago. And what he said was, never be a temporary passenger of Islam. Always speak the truth, take on, and make sure you work for the many. And I think until today, alhamdulillah, most, if not all, alumnus, save for very few, of course, they have done their own stuff, are holding dear to what Prof. Kamal Hassan have said in the context of being the agent of change. Having said that, I was very pleased to see almost the last slide of Prof. Dzul when he talked about change. I think everyone knows change is the only thing that is constant. Being responsible for driving the digital economy space, I keep saying that we need to change. We need to recalibrate many things. Now, one other thing that he talked about, that there are two C's actually. One is change, the other one is curriculum. That curriculum part is something that is very, very critical, very, very important, that IIUM put serious thoughts and actually make it happen. Why? Let me give you an example. 600 to 800 million jobs worldwide is going to be obsolete in two to 3 years' time, according to McKinsey report. That is one fact. Don't go very far. Even in Malaysia today, we have 1.2 million underemployment and unemployment among the youth. This is a big number. This all needs a careful recalibration of the curriculum. Look at the banking sector, for instance. In Europe and in America, more than 60 to 70% of those employed in those sector are IT guys, no longer the finance or accountants. Things are changing very rapidly. Those banks, the old banks, like Deutsche Bank, they are on the verge of collapse. The new banks, what we call the neo banks, are becoming 3 times, 4 times the size of Deutsche Bank. At once, they were propelling the mighty trillion economy of the German. So we need to put things in perspective. Yes, we have all the noble aims, objectives, and as I always tell in MDEC, nice to have good PowerPoints, But if there's no speed, no action, no impact, then that's not going to be something that is fruitful. State of Ummah, we all know, we are the Ummatan Wahida. Are we Ummatan Wahida? We are not. We are the Ummatan Wasatan. Are we the Ummatan Wasatan? No. There are a lot of extremes and here and there. We are also the Khairun Ummah. Are we the Khairun Ummah? These are the self-reflection that we have to do. When I deal with MDEC, because MDEC is going through a major change, there'll be some announcements, so on and so forth, in driving the digital economy space. Because we've been doing well. We started out well back 19 years ago, but then we took a slide. And today, Vietnam is ahead of us in terms of providing a proper ecosystem for new startups. Can you imagine Vietnam? Just few years ago, they were refugees in our country. So these are the things that we need to really, really think. What went wrong? My pitch is always, we must get the education right. We must get the curriculum right. We cannot teach debit credit in finance anymore, or just teaching debit credit in finance anymore. It has to be inclusive. We need to look at fintech. We need to look at Islamic fintech. Have we done that? Not only this university, even not only the Al-Jamiatul Islamiyah Al-Alamiyah in Malaysia, but also the other universities. Have they done it? So these are the things that we need to keep on thinking how we get things done. When I was speaking at a keynote address in CC Forum last year. CC Forum is a United Nations of Technology Space forum, congregating about 2,500 people. At that time, they asked, one of the questions that they asked is, Dr. Rais, what do you think will be the next decade of 4IR? What do you think? Could it be a 5IR? I told them, we cannot think 4IR in decades anymore. It could be weekly, it could be daily, it could be monthly, it could be in quarter. So that, how fast things are changing. Prof. Kamal just now touched about AI a little bit. Today, most of the banking operations, say in the US and in Europe, is all AI. We are still struggling to introduce whether we want to introduce digital banks or not in Malaysia. So these are the things that we need. What can we do realistically? We have huge unemployment and underemployment among the youth, even among our graduates. What should we do? What can we do? Well, we look at the quick wins. Of course, the philosophy, the aims, the objectives, all those graphs, and find that is the guiding principle. What can we do? Let's take one sector, for instance. Prof. Kamal mentioned agriculture at one time was supposed to be part of IIU. Today, our net import annually is 60 billion ringgit. That means we are importing our currency is outflowing 60 billion ringgit annually for food. We look at food sufficiency level, food safety, security, and sovereignty. In each space, we are our self-sufficiency is very low, abysmally low. 85% for meat, 98% for dairy products. The vegetables, 30 to 40, 50%. Now let's see the components that we have, how to solve this problem. We have good amount of land. We have good amount of underemployment and unemployed youth and graduates, and we have a captive demand. Why cannot, for instance, IIUM take a lead? We used to have University Pertanian Malaysia, that was changed to University Putra. Why do not we think about how do we address this? Because we need to provide employment. Yes, we have a sustainable development goal and all that, blah, blah, blah. But what do we do now? So we must have a midterm, short-term, midterm, and long-term plan. The long-term plan, the grandeur plan is there. Prof. Zul have encapsulated that very well. What about the short-term to medium-term? We have students suffering in the university, for instance. I think Brother Khalid worked much to help those students and providing them food and so on. So these are the things that we need to really, really work on. And I'm very thankful that the alumni department of IIUM is doing this Zoom call. I've been in a Zoom, from one Zoom call to another Zoom call. So it's like, this is the new norm, right? But I'm very glad that it's being done this way. Why? Networking among alumni is very, very important, extremely important. Many of the universities in the world, good universities, like for instance, Prof. Zul may not like me mentioning about this, but Harvard, for instance. Their alumni network is simply, it's out of the world. I get every 2 weeks, for instance, updates, what's happening, what's new, what are the new reviews, blah, 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 to keep the alumnus together, to cook. And look at that in terms of the endowment funds and this. So maybe alumnus department or alumni department of IIUM needs a little bit more funding to help them to establish a fantastic alumnus platform, a management platform, where all the database are there and people can then interact with each other. Get Khalid Awang. This guy has been there for time immemorial on alumni, and he's been working very hard for the alumni. So perhaps you can get all those things done. And these days, those are nothing in terms of cost. We have, as somebody started by saying that 96,700 graduates in 125 countries. Boy, we can be a power to be reckoned with. It's unfortunate, just like we are not Ummatan Wahida in a greater scale. When Emir was here, I was telling him that, remember the organization called OIC? You all know OIC, right? It still exists, by the way. So this OIC, for instance, is a congregation of baklava and lamb mandi, and that's it. What impact does it bring to the Ummah? You look at Uyghur Muslims, look at the Palestinians. You have countries recognizing Israel. These are the things that I think IIUM as an institution, I'm not talking about IIUM as an institution per se, as a university. I'm talking about the alumnus can play a big role. We're in 125 countries. We are powerful, we are not powerful. So these are the things that we need to really recalibrate our thought process to really be the Ummatan Wahida, the Ummatan Wasata, and Ummatan, the Hayrun Ummah. And this can be achieved with IIUM, but it must start with the most critical part of the entire IIUM, which is change. IIUM has to change, has to be agile. You can have fixed philosophy, fix that, anyway, it didn't change much from day one. But it must be agile enough to face the current reality. And the reality is going to change rapid fire. It's no longer like in decades or in 5-year term and so on. So I think I'll just stop there. If there's anything else that you would like to ask or anybody would like to ask, I would share then. And forgive me if I've offended anyone. I think everyone knows I always speak my mind. Right, Emir? Emir was my keeper in the All-Stars. I used to manage a club in IIUM and used to be my goalkeeper. I was the manager and coach. Right, Emir?
Yes. I hope I was a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, you're a fantastic keeper. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dato' Rais, for that very, elaborate discussion on change and where IIUM should go. And I would like to highlight that definitely we must get the curriculum right. And networking among alumni is fundamental in propelling towards, a more established networking community for the alumni, so that we can help the university better. And also I would like to address now Madam Emelina, as a lady figure, coming out of IIUM, what are your experiences leading the corporate industry, and also what would be your response towards what is going on in IIUM right now and where it's going to go? So over to you, Madam Emelina.
Amelia.
Sorry, Madam Amelia. I'm so sorry.
Never mind. It's okay. Because since young, people always get confused on how to pronounce my name and even my surname. Anyway, thank you to my creative late dad who gave me the name. And I've got a lot of questions asking whether are you a Malay every time. So anyway, coming back to UIA is basically rekindling after listening to Tan Sri Prof Kamal, how we started knowing brothers and sisters, and I think we have stopped using that the moment we stepped out of UIA. That was like back in 1991 when I graduated. Apparently, I'm the same batch with Haji Khalid Awang, but sorry, maybe I tak kenal because you know the disparity of courses and also the gap between the girls and the boys has always been observed. So we are closer to the group. Even among our batchmates as well, you know, only get to know them later. And I also shared something with with Aisha on how can the alumni help the university, because at the moment registered number of alumni, I think there are not that many. Maybe many are not aware, not that they don't remember where they came from, but I guess over the years with demand of work and family, people tend to like, you know, are busy with life. And the best way to reconnect is of course through WhatsApp, and thank you to technology, through WhatsApp group of the batch. Actually from there we can, you know, relate more or disseminate whatever issues you know that is happening in IU or whatever help IUM requires. So to me, basically as a student, when I first joined IIU, it taught us about the spirit of being a universal Islamic scholar. Normally when you go to school, you only learn Islam just as a basic. But when you study in UIA, when you get bonding with other international students, that's where your horizon expanded, you know, in different from other universities, because those days there are not many universities that has international students. Yeah, we used to make a joke, oh, it's a overseas PJ, you know, that's where we were from. There were no bomba at that time. And it taught me a lot about awareness and also how we relate to others. So, and also how we are agile. When I first joined Pricewaterhouse, I think I'm the only Malay graduate locally that get into PW at that time, because of the expectation of local graduate are not able to speak English. So it's being part of the 16 selected out of the thousands of many, it's quite a huge achievement also. And thanks to UIM that provide me that baseline, you know, be able to work together and even to be seen or recognized. And that has actually brought me to a bigger organization like Sapura Telecom, being also among the not many UIA who gets recognized or even to be getting you know, bigger position over time. And I believe I've seen many also successful UIA, especially in the law fraternity. Maybe because of you know, they are more seen, especially with a lot of the graduates, you know, a lot of top debaters coming from the UIA, but maybe not that many from the economics faculty. And I also see more of the medical faculty graduates are even recognized. And I know one of them who's actually practicing in Sweden. And I mean, there is one thing good, you know, being an ambassador abroad. And some of them batchmates are also working in London, working in New York, United Nations, and that's it's very pleasing to see. And I hope that shall continue. We'll have more and more graduates that will be joining the force and holding big positions. As far as, I mean, looking at women graduates nowadays, as you know, based on some data statistics, we have only about like 12% of the entire high level position. We're talking about maybe senior manager and above are holding the position. It's not that, I think it could be because of the demand pressure, because most of them throw the towel after 10 years of working. It takes a lot of also support, in order for them to continue going to the rat race, beating the rat race. And some people decide to just become a homemaker and become a good mom and a good, and build, so that their children are successful, which is also noble. But in this coming, reality bites that you talk about changes, changes where we need to become an economic contributor, where when you talk about most of the graduates are female, even from school, you can see the number of students that goes into SBPs, that goes into top school, that gets into top university, got scholarships, are girls. So you can imagine if the workforce, you're not able to tap the brain, the best brain, you don't have enough people to work together and bring the economy up. So I think that it's where it is very important, I think, for us not to forget, how can we provide a better ecosystem for the ladies, and it's also in terms of the generation expectation gap. I foresee it's also an issue because a lot of the key management positions, succession plan nowadays is also a challenge because the gap between the middle management and also the senior management. So we are pretty short of talent. Therefore, business need to be more careful in hiring. And also with the current status of industry forward and also compounding effect of the COVID, people are looking into more of a gig economy where we need to provide, where business are looking into a more flexible in hiring because they do not want to make a long-term promising career. They want to be flexible in choosing who they want to hire, who they want to retire. And this particular gig economy in a way is good. It gives you the flexibility, but the danger of the gig economy is that we need to be more disciplined, so that we are systematic so that we have a sustainable income and also retirement fund. So, graduates are the Generation X. We are pretty blessed because when we graduated, the economy was good, jobs are available, and most of us stay in the company quite a long, at least 10 years. So, but I foresee that in future, that won't be the case. How many even government are looking into positions that it's not a long term, more on contract rather than permanent. So it is very important, I think, for the university to also look into preparing the students to become, their own entrepreneurs, to venture into something that is not monotonous. Because those days, you graduate, banking job is easy, as rightfully what Dr. Rais mentioned. But we foresee that when we go to modern farming, agriculture, those things that maybe kalau dulu we hardly think of those kind of vocations, isn't it? So that those are the things that I believe university should also address. At the same time, I just wanted to share also the experience of some of my kids attending, they are doing their summer break. Our country, we are pretty blessed. We have a lot of people that is very caring. We are basically a very caring society. And a lot of, like, for example, in the case of SOKSO, in the case of Zakat, they have provided a lot of avenue for students to come and teach PPRT students. These are the kids, if you look, they are pathetic, and they are living in a very small flat, and when they provide, for example, my PJ Jabatan Zakat Selangor provide that avenue for anybody who's willing to teach the students from 2 to 10, the kids, I mean. They are the primary schoolers and also secondary schoolers. They look forward, at 2 o'clock, they're already waiting in front of the center because they look forward to learn. So to me, contributing back to the society, this is where I think we can get the university students as part of the curriculum to impart the knowledge. In the year 4, they don't even know how to do multiplication of the 2. These are reality. The government has provided a lot of infrastructure, even like national sandbox innovation. But I believe what we lack is the content provider. These are not just RM, but the brain, the mind, the contribution, even for ladies who are basically are no longer like in the mainstream office. They also can contribute in that sense. So that part, in a way, by us contributing and sharing, it would be more conducive, so that at times I believe when we impart knowledge, we get it is more meaningful than just an RM. It's just a suggestion that I think maybe IIUM can do in terms of the curriculum. Because during my study days, I was deputy president for one of these. They call it Sophia. At that time, there was this collection fundraising issue for, I think, Bosnia and Serbia war. I can't remember specifically, but our advisor then was Dr. Alijah Gordon. He's not part of the IIUM, but somehow or other we get connected to her, and those are the things that we started at that time. Part of the student activity that we do. So I believe we should continue, especially with UIA position being different from other universities, because other universities do have international students, but our differentiator is the spiritual, which to me provide us a better, should be, better platform or better realization of what we have learned. Doing things is better than just learning or absorbing knowledge. That's my view. So I think I'm not sure whether I wanted to share anything else at the moment. So maybe I give it to the next speaker to speak. Can't hear you. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Amelia, for sharing. And I'd like to highlight the point that you made about having a better ecosystem for the ladies, especially for the alumni, to get together, and also looking at preparing the graduates right now for something that is not monotonous, and the industry out there is going towards self-employment, about gig economy, flexibility in hiring, and that kind of trend that we have to be prepared for. And just like Dato Rais said just now, we have to be agile, right? So connecting the two dots, yeah. So Tuan Haji Khalik, as an active contributor to IIUM, and as an alumnus, yeah, how will the alumni community, play a better role? How can we play a better role based on your experience in becoming, one of the leaders of the alumni, for IIUM? Over to you, Tuan Haji.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rosmaliza. Dr. Rais, who has contributed a lot to alumni association and alumni generally. Ambassador Emil, who we have been working together on many things here in Malaysia and also in Bosnia. Dr. Adam, who's our representative, has met you in Nigeria a few days back, Nur Fazalizan, and Madam Emilia, and brothers and sisters. First of all, I must congratulate Alumni Division, Dr. Azhar, for making this event a reality. I think it is a very good effort, and I would like to reckon that from what I can recall, Alumni Division this time is the most active and the most proactive Alumni Division. And that is a good sign for alumni, to welcome alumni to come back to the university and contribute to the university. And I would like also to congratulate the university, the rector especially, for putting alumni agenda as priority to the university. I think this is the first time that the importance of welcoming and collaborating with alumni is made a very clear policy by the university. And I think this is something new and something good for our alumni. And this is the best time for our alumni to come and give back to the university. Many has been said, but I would like to come to some elementary things and later to some more bigger thing, how to contribute to the university. I think our alumni is the best, of course. And our alumni will be great, and is great if we can contribute or give back to the university. So therefore, since several years back, we have introduced this tagline of giving back. Let's give back. So that is our tagline. In other words, our quite a formidable task is actually to acculturate and to promote and cultivate among our alumni, to give back to the university, to give back to the country, and to give back to the Ummah generally. So I would say that our alumni achievement in this respect is not that bad. And in fact, it is among the best among other institutions of higher learning. This is the feedback that we get from the rector and from the Ministry of Higher Learning. And but as Dato Rais mentioned, we have a lot. There are a lot of rooms to improve, and of course, the biggest room in this world is room for improvement. And our alumni is everywhere. Since the day that I can remember, our alumni is always there in the highest office in the country, from the Prime Minister Abdul even until now. And in fact, not only that, we are everywhere in all ministries and government agencies, judiciary, legislature, executive, political parties, GLCs, foreign relations, banking, financial institution, and also in business sector. So we are everywhere. So I think, therefore, it is very important to, maybe as Dato Rais mentioned just now also, to network among ourselves. And in this way, we can contribute and give back better to the university. So for example, by giving back to the university, one need not to wait until we are very rich or become millionaire or billionaire to contribute to the university, but each of us can contribute in our own way, in our respective and various capacities to the university. Okay. For example, we at the university level, as a starting point, as a program to promote the giving back culture to the university, we have, for example, the student kitchen program, which has been conducted for the past 6 years for the B40 student, for the less fortunate ones, since we know that the cost of living is escalating, and our students need a very assistance, a lot of assistance from our alumni. And this student kitchen program has been there for 6 years, and it is ongoing. And we have received a lot of support and contribution from alumni, individuals, and also from various organizations that are led by our alumni, which hold very strategic posts that can give back to the university, either in their personal capacity or organizational capacity. We hope, for example, this can be a good training ground or good program to acculturate, to promote the culture of giving back to the society. Because I believe this culture is very fundamental in realizing ourselves, our alumni, as the torch bearers of the Ummah, in the real sense of the word, in the bigger sense and the global sense of the word. The other initiative is, for example, the contribution of laptop to B40 students. Last few days, we have pledged to the university to give away 100 laptops to students, and we have contributed 30 laptops and more on the way. And this is possible through the support of our alumni holding positions in various institutions, in various organizations that may utilize their, for example, CSR allocation to assist our students and contribute back to the university. And on the bigger scale, we need also to promote and network among our alumni to help the university to generate revenue for the university. As we all know, with the reduction of allocation from the government, and also with the pandemic issues, which businesses and revenues across the board has been reduced tremendously, affected tremendously, and so does our university. So therefore, our alumni holding various positions in businesses and GLCs are welcome to collaborate with the university, have a business collaboration for a win-win situation so that we can assist the university. And this, of course, has been said, much has been said about the achievement of Harvard and also Oxford and also Yale alumnus and how they contribute to the endowment of the university, amounting to billions of ringgit. But of course, they have a longer tradition, hundreds of years of tradition. But even though we are new, only 37 years old, but with the basic basic education that we have, with the concepts like infaq and sadaqah and all that, I'm sure at any time our alumni can surpass the contribution and achievement of even Harvard and Yale, as we have done in many other areas, including debates. So also, for example, as mentioned by Tan Sri Zul, about our commitment from 1990, from earlier time of our establishment towards a sustainable development goal. So now it is coined as a commitment to the sustainable development goals. So I believe also our alumni has a very instrumental role here. For those who have businesses, Dato Rais also has got some experience in renewable energy and in, for example, peppers without cutting down trees and cutting down the carbon emission to the university. There are a lot of rooms, there are a lot of avenues that can be done to achieve. And we can start by our university and later on translate this commitment to the sustainable development goal in all aspects of our activities, nationally and also globally. One more thing, the effort that we need support from our alumni is to produce entrepreneurs. Last week, alumni division and also entrepreneur development center of the university, and we alumni association support this all that we can to train, to get as many alumni to become mentors to the student to produce entrepreneurs. And not only entrepreneurs, but more importantly, in the era of Industrial Revolution 4, the business in the coming years or even now is actually in the Industrial Revolution 4 related businesses. And we are fortunate to have MDEC, Dato Rais at the helm, which I'm sure can do a lot to the university to promote, especially the education in IT, or education in digitization, this artificial intelligence and blockchain and all that, starting from as basic as coding to the development of software. So I think through this endeavor, we can make sure that our alumni can truly become the torch bearers of the Ummah, because that is the real challenge now, the challenge of Industrial Revolution 4. And finally, because time is running out, we have to be committed, because before I came to the university about 3 decades ago, I listened to the speech by our Professor Dato Arifin Suhaimi, and he gave some explanation to my secondary school students and tried to attract students to come to the universities. And what attracted me most was when he said UIA aim and wants to produce committed Muslim professionals. And this is very much in line with what Professor Kamal has mentioned just now, when he submitted the basic paper to the government for the establishment of the university. And I call for all alumni to disseminate the true understanding of Islam and become continuously committed to become the Muslim professional and become the agents of change, and therefore the torchbearers of the Ummah. I think that's my brief comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Tuan Haji Khalik. I'm very, would like to bring forward the attention to everyone towards this call, I suppose, by our president of the IIUM Alumni Association, Tuan Haji Khalik, to give back in whatever capacity that we can. And ultimately, our goal is to produce Muslim professionals, and we can also contribute through, becoming mentors, through funding, through various capacities that we can, inshallah. So taking on from there, Dr. Adam from Nigeria, what would be, the possible contributions that, alumni like yourself, who is residing in another country, can do towards the progression of IIUM? Over to you, Dr. Adam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let me start by thanking my former rector, Professor Emeritus Dr. Kamal Hassan, and the present rector of the IIUM, Prof. Emeritus Dr. Dato Dzulkifli Abdul bin Abdul Razak. In Nigeria today, we have nearly 1,000 UIA graduates. And as the president of the IIUM Alumni Nigerian chapter, 98% of almost all the Nigerians who studied in UIA are postgraduate students. Most of us studied masters and PhD, and now are occupying top positions in Nigeria, from heads of tertiary institutions to heads of departments and parastatals, and so many other issues. So I came from northern part of Nigeria. Northern part of Nigeria is mostly Muslims. But we have never had this idea of combining fikr and dhikr, just like what Professor Kamal Hassan said. For the first time we heard about this, it is when we went to UIA. I joined UIA back in 2005. So the common trend in Nigeria is that if you study Western education, you only have Western-oriented thoughts. And if you studied Islamic studies and Arabic studies, you only have Arabic and Islamic studies thought. So the two intellectuals hardly combine and have common things in place. But when we went to UIA, we realized that as a human being, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in the Holy Quran, وَابْتَغِ فِي مَا أَتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيا. That from what Allah has provided for you, make sure you have your share of the hereafter, but do not forget your share of this world. So combining the both educational background as summarized by Prof. Kamal Hassan when he said, we will produce all-round intellectuals by combining fikr and dhikr. He also said we will produce balanced leaders who will contribute positively to the development of humanity. Now in Nigeria, for example, the IIUM Alumni Chapter of Nigeria, last 2 weeks we had our meeting where we made the MD of the Taj Bank. It is one of the Islamic bank in Nigeria. And Alhamdulillah, the MD is from Malaysia and also a graduate of UIA. So we discussed so many issues on how to contribute our quota. But we believe, as John F. Kennedy says, I think the success of any school can be measured by the contribution the alumni make to our collective lives. In Nigeria today, as I said, we have over 1,000 graduates from UIA occupying various positions. We believe we can represent UIA, we can represent Malaysia, and we are doing good in all the aspects of our endeavor. For example, in the robotic area, the person leading the activities of the robotic in Nigeria is UIA graduate, and his name is Professor Musa Ibinu. So with all these contributions that we make, we believe we are projecting the good image of UIA. We have the link together while we are here in Nigeria, making our contributions, linking up with the alma mater. I believe the relationship will be stronger and will be better. The ideas mentioned by the rector, when we look at the ranking of the universities, the benchmark that was depended on by ranking the universities is completely kind of Western, which we also need to inject our Islamic values into it. So he said the perception of the Western benchmark of the university need to be reconsidered by injecting our own, because there are two parallel issues that cannot be moving on the same train. But when we combine both Western and Islamic education together, worldly affairs and the hereafter, we find our lives better. Now, some of the programs we are planning to have in Nigeria, because we have key people in key positions, we are planning to play an active role in the development of Nigeria. We have a master plan on how to organize a national conference, how to organize a workshop, how to contribute our quota to the development of the country, under the umbrella of the UIA alumni. As of today, as of yesterday, I have contacted some of them, some of our alumni members who are working in the Nigerian Senate chamber, and some of them are working in the National Assembly. They have drafted a very good plan through which even the constitution of the country, we are going to call for the injection of some of these Islamic values as Muslims into the constitution. We need to be guided by a balanced constitution that will give us right to practice our religion, to contribute our quota in a way that will not contradict our belief, and any other law that will be imposed on us that has a threat either to our values or to our faith should be reconsidered, because we believe generalization of law on people of different ethnicity and different religious background, instead it will not bring peace to the nation, but rather it will bring imbalance in the activities of the nation. So we believe with this contribution that we are planning to make, we are going to make Nigeria better by borrowing a leaf from Malaysia. We believe, the Malaysian model can work perfectly in Nigeria. Malaysia is a multiracial country where you have different ethnic groups and different religions, but yet they live in peace, they live together. So we believe most of the ideas that we are now facing, most of the challenges in Nigeria, for example, when you talk about Boko Haram is a kind of extremist militant religious organization that has a misconception or misunderstood the concept of Islamic teaching. And they are trying to create their own Islamic state by, destroying others. We believe instead of us to destroy others, we can live in harmony. When I respect your ideas and collectively we can contribute to the of Nigeria. Besides these religious organizations, we have so many ethnic and other non-governmental organizations that are trying to, some of them are calling for separation, others are calling for integration. But we believe if Malaysian model can be implemented in Nigeria, each and every person will live in peace and will have a chance to contribute to the development of Nigeria. Particularly, what we are worried about are the militant Islamic groups. I am living in Nigeria and in Yobe State, and Yobe State is one of the areas devastated by Boko Haram, which are kind of an affiliate of ISIS. So we have experienced violence firsthand. We have experienced so many devastated activities that cause, our progress to be at a standstill. But if we are to, use the knowledge that we acquire from UIA, where Islam, the religion and the world are combined together, I believe all these ideas can be cleared and a conducive atmosphere where each and every person will play his role in moving the nation forward will be put in place. And another point to be noted here is that for the first time in the history of Nigeria, you have a group of intellectuals who studied different fields of knowledge. For example, you find some of them studied engineering, architecture, Islamic studies, and Arabic are all coming together under one umbrella. Previously, it is engineers for themselves, a kind of computer scientists for themselves. Those who studied Arabic, are isolated in the other area. Those who studied Islamic studies, are not part of the other group. But for the first time and for the progress of UIA alumni, all these different groups with different backgrounds are now living under the same umbrella, having the same idea, having the same thought, asking themselves, what can we do to contribute our quota to the development of the nation and for the betterment of humanity? We are not looking at Nigeria per se, because some of our UIA alumni members here in Nigerian chapter, some of them are living abroad like UK, US, Canada, Australia, but they are still sharing the same value. And when we call for a meeting, all of them answer and they contribute their quota. And from the point mentioned by the last speaker about giving back to the alma mater, it is of no use if we can graduate, we receive the best education. I believe it is the best education I have ever acquired in my life. And then if I have the chance to contribute and give back to the alma mater, this is the very first thing that I have to do. I have to, because I could remember when I joined UIA, I sponsored myself because of the low registration and tuition fee. So if we can contribute financially and then make those who are financially down to have access to quality education, to have access to better life, and then develop their skills and ability and then go back to their various countries and contribute their quota, I think it is a noble cause. It is a kind of activity that we must all participate. We can contribute financially, we can supply facilities to the UIA, we can build blocks of hostels of a particular department or faculty or kulia, anything that is within our reach. Let us make sure we give back, because it is the legacy that we are leaving and it is part of the sadaqah jariyah that each and every Muslim must do before you die. Because we believe after our death, the only thing that will come to our grave that we will continue cultivating even after our death is the sadaqah jariyah that we give. And one of them is to make sure that we contribute to the development of education and then give access to underprivileged people to have access to education, so that when they go back to their various countries, they can upgrade their society and contribute positively to the development of their society. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Adam, and congratulations for making a change in your own country and incorporating what you have learned in IIUM. And I totally agree with you that IIUM provides one of the best educations in the world. I am an alumni myself, and also to take on the note of doing sadaqah jariyah and not just in terms of monetary contributions, but spreading the knowledge that we have gained from IIUM, and inshallah that will definitely upgrade our society and also the Ummah. Thank you so much, Dr. Adam, for your input. Brothers and sisters, due to time, I'm so sad that we have to cut this discussion short, but I would like to highlight some of the comments that we received on the chat box. Let me pick one. I think Brother Tun Masri. Brother Tun Masri, thank you very much for being with us. But Masri said, perhaps the alumni division can map the presence of all of the alumni in each country and list 3 key short-term or mid-term projects that the alumni can kickstart the collaboration via social media platform. I think that's a wonderful suggestion. So I think Tuan Haji Khalid can perhaps, highlight this to the alumni division as well on behalf of all of us. That's one. And also from Brother Muhammad Nur Muhammad Ishaq, I hope there will be some sort like progress updates via similar medium like this on any agreed resolutions achieved today. So yes, to the alumni office, perhaps, can come up with some sort of a summary infographic or something like that to be distributed to sort of distribute the ideas that was captured from today's discussion on how alumni can contribute to I would also like to acknowledge the alumni who join us from all over the world. We've got people from Australia, alhamdulillah, from Australia, from Nigeria, definitely, and thank you so much from Bosnia. So all over the world, once again, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and I hope all of us have gained some, inputs on how IIUM alumni can be the torch bearers and spread far and wide the IIUM message. And I would like to end today's session by thanking all of our panelists. The host, the alumni division. Over to you.
All right. Alhamdulillah, thank you to Dr. Rosmaliza for moderating the session. And on behalf of the IIUM Alumni Relations Division, I would like to express our appreciations to our Rector, Professor Tan Sri Dzulkifli, Professor Tan Sri Kamal Hassan, Dr. Emir, Dr. Wira, Dr. Haji Rais, Haji Khalid Awang, Dr. Adam, Madam Emilia, Dr. Rose, and also Sister Aino for their sharings today. And I'm sure everyone has benefited a lot from this program or this webinar. Inshallah, for years ahead, we will celebrate IIUM Alumni Day for every 10th October, which is 10/10 every year. And we really hope that we may enlarge our networking and strengthen the brotherhood and sisterhood that has been established more than 30 years. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will now move on to the launching of IIUM plate number. There will be a special event for today. I hope everyone is still with us for the special launching ceremony. Here, I would like to perhaps invite our Honorable Rector, Professor Tan Sri Dzulkifli Abdul Razak, to launch the IIUM special plate number. What do I do? Please welcome him.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. Are we ready? Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Welcome everybody, particularly the alumni from all over the world. This is another special and very unique event that we are launching a special plate number that carries the IIUM, abbreviation IIUM, right? So you can have these plate numbers the moment we launched it. So I would like to thank everybody for being here with us for this historic moment. Certainly, it's for the first time. I think cars will have the plate alphabet IIUM, followed whatever number that you fancy for your car. The purpose is, of course, to raise funds. We will have a system where you have to bid for these numbers, and hopefully the bidding will help us to raise more funds for the university. And this certainly is a chance of a lifetime. You will possess that number for a long time, and much of these funds will go into facilitating research and innovation, and also supporting all the other basic facilities that we are looking for in trying to change it. There is a bidding system I've mentioned. It is online, which I am told it is reliable and transparent. All right, we have to take the word of the organizers for this. But certainly, being an Islamic university, there's no other ways to doubt this. Yeah, this is something that will work, inshallah, and hopefully this will be something that all of us will gather. And the alumni is eligible, alhamdulillah, for another 5% rebate for all successful bidding over the amount that you are.
For certain numbers.
Or for second number only.
Certain numbers only.
Oh, I see. I say for selected, okay. For selected categories of numbers, which is two numbers.
Two categories of numbers.
Two categories of numbers. Alumni are eligible for 5% rebates for the successful bid amount. All right. The university will also invite individuals and corporations to donate and get our special golden numbers, which started from number 1 to number 11. The minimum amount is only 200,000 ringgit. Yeah. And we will also enjoy a tax incentive for this. Hope all alumni will participate more than once and contribute to this program. Please visit the special website that has been created, which is iium.edu.my, right? And I think there is some brochure that is prepared. Yeah, I think you must have got, and all the information is here. So on that note, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I am happy to launch officially the IIUM special plate number bidding, and it's beginning now. So what do I press? Anything? Oh, I press any P. Alhamdulillah. Suara. As a first customer, eh?
Alhamdulillah, thank you, Tan Sri, for the launch. Ladies and gentlemen, please spread information to all your friends about the IIUM plate number. With that note, let us end the sessions with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Wal-Asr. To all IIUM alumni, happy Alumni Day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shukran jazilan.
And the others to go down and have
photo session.
Yeah, photo session.
I need to borrow somebody else's shoe. I'm just wearing a slipper. I just thought I'd make a bidding for the shoe. Tahu dia ambil gambar, zoom ni, nasib pakai slow. Pakai sarung kan.